Hello.
Hey,
Good to see you, man. How are you doing?
hi, you.
Yes, very good. Very good. Can you see me okay?
I can see you. What's the temperature at your place now?
Oh, 32 degrees.
And where are you staying now?
I'm in London just now.
London. Okay, I think
Um,
London is also a bit of a heat center, right?
yes. Well, I'm from Scotland. So the most I'm used to is 10 degrees, you know, and rain, just rain. So this is too much for me. I wasn't even wearing anything until 2 minutes ago.
Yes. So now you're actually longing for the Scottish rain, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's good. Let's start off then with Scotland.
Yes.
Uh, what town or city did you grow up in?
So I'm from a place called Perth, which is like Australia, Perth, Australia, but we don't have sunshine, just rain, like you said. Um, yeah, it was a lovely place to grow up. It's classed as a city, but really only because it has a cathedral. Otherwise, it would probably be a town. It's pretty small. Um, it's got some good bars that I played in as a teenager. I went to school there. I worked in a children's nursery for a bit after I left school, and then I moved to London, maybe 2.5 years ago. So I was in Perth from when I was born until I was about 22.
And
Um,
if do you know if Perth, Australia, has been named after Perth, Scotland?
I have a feeling that it is, but I could definitely be wrong about that. I'm not sure, but I'm fairly sure that it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a pretty typical name, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Music-wise, growing up over there, what the music that you listened to when you were growing up, was it influenced by the town, the city, or maybe the people, maybe your parents, or
Um, Well, yeah, yeah. Growing up, music was always in the house. I come from a family of bagpipers, so on my mum's side, they all play in or used to play in some of the best bands in the world, and my granddad and all these people. And my first musical memory is I had an old cassette player, and I had one cassette, and it was just bagpipe music, and I loved that. And I would have probably have started to learn the bagpipes if not that my dad had started getting guitar lessons. And so just one day a stranger came into the house and he had this hard case. I had no idea what it was, but he said, come over here. And he helped me he let me unclip it, along the case. And I opened it up and inside's this beautiful guitar. And he brought it out and held it and went, this crazy, crazy lick. And that was me. I was just like, oh my God. And I can, I feel like we all have moments where if we look back, we could be like, yeah, our life changed in that moment. For me, that was one of those moments.
what
So
what did it do? I mean, inside you, what did it do when the guitar came out, when he started playing on the guitar? Um,
it felt like it woke me up. It felt, I always say that kids don't even really know they exist. They're just doing their thing, living in the world, but they're not like truly. I don't know. You become conscious at some stage. I feel like, um, and so that's what it felt like for me. It felt like that was the moment that I somehow touched with consciousness and felt alive and inspired. And then that was it. I started. I think he gave my dad a lesson, and then he went home, and I think I probably begged to have lessons too. So he started coming around the house for me, and he would teach me for about half an hour, and my parents would say, Blair, it'd be good if you could practice for 20 minutes a night. But after 1 week, you couldn't get me off the guitar. That was it. Just playing the guitar all the time. I guess Dad would have been listening to Eric Clapton and things like that. But I wouldn't have said that Perth had too much of an impact on the music I was listening to. I think I only truly felt inspired by Scotland after I left, if that makes sense. I always loved being Scottish and felt proud, but it wasn't it wasn't on my mind. Whereas as soon as I left for the first time, got in the train and left my family behind, I can still see it now, and it's still, the memory still hurts my heart to leave them behind. As soon as I got on that train, I think I truly became a Scottish person, or certainly I truly became proud to be a Scottish person. And now it influences my music. Now I think about it when I'm writing. I would love to release some songs that are kind of an ode to Scotland. I think about this all the time, and I think that I will do that soon. It's just picking the right moment. But Scotland it has an impact on me now, but I wouldn't say that it did growing up. It was really just discovering music and discovering being alive.
No, but I think once you're not in the place that you grew up in, I think then you actually know what makes the place so unique. When it's all around you all the time, you don't see it, of course.
Yes, yeah. That's what they say. The grass is always greener.
Yeah. One thing, going back that you were saying bagpipes, you said, from your mother's side, I don't know, they were playing in a really good bagpipe band.
Yes, well, so every year in Glasgow Green, there's the World Pipe Band Championships. And so because pipe bands are everywhere in the world, Scottish people that have moved, or even just other cultures that picked it up. But they all come to Glasgow once a year for the final. And my family's bands were always, in the top 5 maybe every year in rotation. They were a really good band, and some years they won it and some years they didn't. But mostly that was my auntie and uncle. They were in, then they still do it now. They moved to Australia, but even now they're in a pipe band over there, and they're teaching people how to play the bagpipes and how to play the snare drums and everything. So it's still a big part of our lives. And I actually wrote a song about this one moment I had in London where I was coming up into Liverpool Street Station. I don't know if you know this one, but it's one of the main train stations. I was on the underground, so I'm coming up and I can hear bagpipes. I'm thinking, where is that coming from? And so I go into the main area of the train station, and there's maybe like 4 guys in the whole Highland thing, with the big hat and the kilt and everything. And they're playing the bagpipes, and there's maybe a crowd of about 100, 200 people all standing around watching. And I felt so proud. And I called my mum, because I knew that she would love to hear. And as soon as she said hello, that was me crying. It couldn't stop. In the middle of London with all these people, I'm just sobbing. And that had a huge impact on me. I think that was the first time that I really felt properly homesick and realized how much I loved my home. And I did write a song about that experience. So that might come out maybe at the end of the year, or maybe next year.
What's the song called?
It's called All I Ever Hear, because the chorus says, all I ever hear are bagpipes in Liverpool Street Station. That's the chorus. So it's very honest.
What is for you? You're writing songs yourself right now. I'm just looking at my question now. I have a screen over here. You write your own songs now, and you write your lyrics.
Yes.
What is so unique now? You're writing your own song. What is so unique about bagpipes and the sound?
It's funny. I almost want to quote you the second verse of the song, which is, they're hopeful and they're loud. There's something in the sound, like a saltire in the clouds. It pulls you out the crowd. It's the sound that unites all these people. There isn't one like it. Some people hate it. Some Scottish people, well, we say that we hate it maybe, but then as soon as it plays in a stadium or the national anthem or Scotland the Brave, it truly does unite us. And I feel like I was looking around for other Scottish people, and I could see other people that I thought, yeah, they're Scottish. It's very distinctive. It's so loud. It used to be a battle cry. Before we'd go and fight the English and things like that, we would stand on the hills and play our bagpipes, and that was the sound to let them know that we're coming.
You released your first single, on Spotify you did at least, in 2022. Mm-hmm. If you listen, the song Stairs, What are your thoughts on that song now? And then maybe, well, of course, we're going to discuss the new EP within minutes. But if you listen back to your first song, Stairs, what sort of Blair do you hear?
I'm still proud of that song. It came from a difficult story. I got really badly bullied in my first high school for doing music, which is funny. The thing that I got bullied for is now the thing that brings me so much. Well, it always brought me joy, but I suppose now it's the thing that's celebrated about me. But it was such a hard time and caused me trauma for years. And I think when I wrote the song, it allowed me to heal. Songwriting can really do that. It can help you process, and I do believe that there's such a power in songwriting when it's done honestly and vulnerably. And so when I listen back to that song, I do see someone that was really trying to be honest and share their story, and it was really difficult. I was so nervous to put it out. I didn't want to feel judged, or it was bringing back memories. With the music video, we went back and we filmed it in the school that I got bullied in. So that was the first time I'd been back there in maybe 8 years. So even though everything felt so much smaller, all the classrooms and the stairs and the corridors and the places where I'd get beaten up and everything, they all felt smaller. But it also brought me back to feeling small too. It was interesting. So I think when I look back at it, I'm really proud that my first song was a song that was really honest and really vulnerable. And I think the most beautiful thing is that I've had the chance to play it live, and I don't really play it live anymore, because I try to be more joyous now when I play live. I try to be more uplifting when I can. So Stairs I don't really play Stairs very much anymore. But when I used to play it, it used to shock me how I would stand on stage and sing my song, and it would allow other people to feel like they could be vulnerable with me. Strangers would come up to me after the show and be able to tell me that they'd been getting bullied, or tell me that they'd been through a hard time and that the song helped them. And I think that is why we make music, is to share that connection with people. And I think, I'm proud that I was able to share that.
Can you tell me why you were bullied? Because making music, why is this such a were you so unique in apart from the book?
Maybe. I mean, I came to high school with an album that I had written. So when I was 10 years old, for my birthday, my dad helped me to go to a recording studio, just to kind of cheap, and I didn't come from lots of money, but we could afford to do this for 1 week or something. So I made an album. So then when I moved to high school, I had maybe 100 CDs that I'd made. And for the first maybe 1 or 2 months, I was really popular and handing these CDs out for free. And I would be playing at the assemblies. Do you know assemblies where everybody comes together and the school does a big talk and there's music and things? So I would stand up on stage in front of everybody and sing. But I think while I was doing that, it was making me a target for other people. And so then one day somebody said, you should make a Facebook page to promote your music more. And so I did. I went home and I got on the laptop and made the Facebook page, went down for dinner. And when I came back up, it was just full of hatred, thousands and thousands of comments. I can remember. I won't tell you them because they're not kind, but I can still, they're like ingrained in my mind. And I think at some stage in my life, I would have said that they were just horrible people. I would have said those people they were nobodies and things. But I grow up and now I look at them with love and kindness, because I realized that they would have gone home to maybe not very nice families where there was drink and drugs and not very much money. And maybe these kids, maybe there was jealousy, maybe just sadness and anger, and they needed to take it out on somebody. And I suppose maybe by singing on stage and by handing out my CDs, I became an easy target, But especially in Scotland, we have an attitude where you don't really stand up. You're not really meant to be proud or to be anybody. And so I think I've been very lucky that I've always known that I was going to do this thing, you know, whether it's fame or just being able to share my songs. I always knew that it was music. But maybe these people didn't have that. And so, yeah, I used to be angry and I used to hate these people, but now I look at them with love, and I'm glad that it was me and not somebody else, because I was able to take it. You know, it was obviously very difficult and I still deal with the issues, but maybe there would be other people that couldn't have dealt with it. And so I'm glad that it fell on my shoulders, you know?
Yeah. Did you continue writing? I mean, did you continue?
Oh, yes. Never stopped. For me, writing was the thing that saved me. And I was in a band at the time, you know. So, and the band where I had my year where I was okay. Nobody really bothered me. The year above me, they were the bullies, but my band were the year above those guys. So they kind of protected me, you know. The bell would ring at lunchtime and I would run to where they would be. And if I made it to them, I was okay. And if I didn't make it to them, not so good. But it's okay. It's all good. But yeah, so I got to be in a band and we were kind of heavy. So I'd write some angry songs and yeah, never stopped writing. The music for me was the one thing that always kept going, and I'm glad that they never managed to beat that out of me. And then eventually I moved school to luckily a much nicer school, and there I was just encouraged to do music, and everybody was supportive. And although I always kept looking over my shoulder, you know, like when's it gonna go bad? But thankfully it didn't, and formed another band, and that band ended up getting a manager, and that's who I'm still with today, you know. So obviously the band ended around COVID time. We couldn't play live anymore, and playing live was our big strength. So the band ended, and I guess I got really depressed. I felt like it was my one chance gone, because we had this manager and a booking agent, and so I kind of got sad and wrote this one song, and I sent it to the band's management. I said, "Oh, is it okay if I post this on my own Instagram?" And they were like, "Whoa, this is what you need to keep doing. You need to be this solo artist." And I think that was the moment that I learned that being vulnerable and honest is my superpower as a songwriter. And so that's why maybe 2 or 3 months after that, I wrote Stairs, and Stairs was the first one that came out. Yeah.
Was it necessary for you to move to London? I mean, for your music career?
I think so. I love writing songs with other people. I still write songs on my own from time to time, but for me, there's something so special about being in a room with two friends and talking and getting really deep and emotional, and then trying to write a song together and bouncing ideas off of, hey, what if it's like that? What if it's like that? And so London for me gave me a community. You know, like I said, in Perth, there was only 1 or 2 music venues. Nobody really writes songs. It's not a community. And so, moving to London gave me this space where there's hundreds of people all wanting to do the same thing, and it's inspiring. But also I kind of moved for love as well. I met my partner 3 years ago, right before I moved, and they live in London, and so it made sense to for me to come down, and the music was starting to get better, and my management are down here, my publishers are here, so it made sense. But I think I'm going to move out of London soon, because now I have my community. I feel like I can leave and come back whenever I need. But living in London for me is, I don't love it. I don't love it. It's obviously very expensive, and I miss smiling at people when you walk past them in the street. You know, I did this tour a couple of weeks ago in Europe. So we played in the Netherlands and France and Germany and then Scotland, and I felt community with not just musicians but everybody. I would walk past people and smile and say hello and speak to people on the trains, and And it kind of reminded me what it is to be human. And sometimes in London, you forget what it's like to be human because everybody is so laser focused on the next thing and what they're doing that we don't look up, we don't look at each other, and we don't talk. And I find it really strange. So I've had enough of living here. But like I say, I've found my people, so I can come back, dip in and out when I need to. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to not living here anymore.
Well, you mentioned the songwriting sessions with other people, stuff, and then the single "Wouldn't Be Right." That's the single that you released now. What was the circumstances surrounding the song when you wrote it?
So this one I wrote in Nashville. So I was very lucky and honored to get nominated for an Ivor Novello Award last year. And as a result of that, they gave me some funding to do a couple of creative things. So maybe it could be for some people make a music video, or I don't know. For me, it was to go to Nashville and to write some songs out there. Because my record label's in LA and they had some ideas of who would be good. And I went out there and I was completely blown away by how good the songwriters are there and what a beautiful community they have. You go to people's houses, in London, typically you maybe go to the studio and lots of people will all meet at a studio and we'll write there. Whereas in Nashville, you go to people's houses, you're in their living room or their garage, you talk for a bit, and then you start writing. And the writers there are so fast, so talented. And yeah, I don't love country music to listen to. It's not really my thing, but I can't disagree that it's not one of the best type of songwriting. It's so clever and lyric focused. So I went there not knowing what to expect, and I loved it. And I met this one person called Evan Klein, and we just instantly connected. Straight away, we were friends, and we were able to share the kind of deepest, darkest stuff, which I think is really important if you're going to write a song together. And in maybe 2 days, we wrote 7 songs together. And I think Would It Be Right was the last song that we wrote. We were just sitting around and I'd had this idea because we had just moved into this flat in London that I'm in now. And I'll be honest, it's very small. And some of the windows don't open and you can hear the neighbors screaming. And so by all accounts, it's not, and we pay too much money, right? So by all accounts, it's not the best place to live. But I was thinking about how, because I have my partner who I love, suddenly this is perfect. I couldn't live here with anyone else. I couldn't live here on my own. But when I've got my partner here, it feels like home, So I was talking to Evan about that, and we thought that would be a good thing to write about. And to be honest, the song came in like half an hour. It was very quick. It was very easy. Sometimes when you've got enough to say about something, it falls out of you. And so, yeah, that was the experience. And then I brought it home and kind of forgot about it. Then when I was in the studio in March recording this EP, it was going so well and it was going so quickly too that we had an extra day. And so we thought, hey, let's just record one more. And so I decided to do Wouldn't Be Right because it's very upbeat. And to be honest, I don't have too many upbeat songs. So it was, we just thought we'll try something new. And it's probably one of my favorites on the EP. So.
And the other songs in the EP were also written with the songwriting partner that you met in Nashville?
No, only this one. The other ones were written with some different people. There's a Scottish songwriter, David Snedden. He wrote one of the songs. With me, I should say. With me. And then I've become good friends with the guitarist from Codaline. Did you ever listen to Codaline, the Irish band? They were one of my heroes in my teenage years. And recently I've become friends with him. And so he's called Mark. So me, Mark, and another writer called Corey Sanders, who's amazing. The three of us wrote maybe 3 songs on the EP, Butterflies, a song called Crash in the Car, and a song called Coming Back Babe. And Yeah, so there's a few writers. I think now I'm starting to get back into writing on my own again. I feel like it's a different skill. Like I said to you earlier, I love writing with other people. I feel like it inspires me and excites me. But it's definitely easier to write with other people because you've got two other people in the room coming up with ideas. So recently I've been trying to force myself to just sit with my guitar and be in my head, which is a completely different skill. But when you get a song that you've written just on your own, I feel like I'm so much more proud of these songs. And it truly is me. You know, when you've got two other people coming up with ideas, it's how they would say things or what they think. Whereas when it's just me and my guitar, it can only be my thoughts, which can be good and it can be bad, I think.
But the song that you wrote, one of my next questions now, the song that you wrote about, well, when you were hearing bagpipes in Liverpool Station.
Yes.
In London.
Yes.
Was that song written entirely by yourself?
Yeah.
Literally?
Just the first half.
Okay.
Just the first half. And then I took it to David, who's also Scottish, so he knew. We were on a writing camp together with an English guy, Ed, who produced the EP actually. So Ed was the producer, and me, David, and Ed all kind of wrote the song together. But I came in with the first half. I kind of like to do that with my songwriting sessions. I think it's important for me, if I'm going to be sharing ideas with other people, it's important that the first idea comes from me. So I always try, if I'm going in to write with other people, to have at the very least a title. But in an ideal world, I would like to have a verse or a chorus or maybe both. And then I take it to these guys and I say, okay, how can we make this even better? Where can it go from here? But yeah, I love it. I just love writing songs, and I just hope that for as long as possible it stays my job. I'm trying to work really hard to just keep the money coming in, keep the label happy. I've never worked with a record label before, so it's been interesting trying to learn how to do that, because it's another different skill of, what are the lines? How much should I do? How much should you guys do? My management, I just want to make everybody proud, and I want to keep doing this as my job for as long as I possibly can.
What does your mom think then of the music that you make?
Yeah, my mom and dad, they love it. They're very happy. Yeah, there's not too many, but they don't like when I swear, so I try not to swear too much in my songs.
That's good. Question, what's the EP going to be called?
The EP is going to be called First and Last, not because it's my first and last EP, but because it's the title track. There's one song called First and Last, which is a song that I wrote, I guess, is kind of to be the perfect first dance song. So the line is, you'll be my first and last dance. So then I called the EP First and Last. And I wanted it to be called that because the whole EP is a love story. So it's from where you first meet. There's a song called Coming Back Babe that's about, meeting maybe at a party or something, and you decide to run away together. It's so intense and amazing that you just think, let's go. Then there's a song called Crash in the Car, which is, you've left the party, you're in the car, you look at this person and you think, if we ended up crashing the car right now and we died, which is maybe a bit dark, but what a way to go out, what a way to die next to the person that I've just fallen in love with. It's a kind of crazy, unhinged love song. And then you have, Wouldn't Be Right, which is you move into your first place together. And like I told you, it's not great and it's too hot and it's too expensive, but you love this person, so it doesn't matter. Then you've got First and Last, which is, we're getting married now, we're having our first dance. And then Butterflies at the end, which is just about, I hope this love lasts forever. The butterflies never fly away. So yeah, that's the whole kind of story of this EP.
Right, interesting, nice.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best, of course.
Thank you.
With the songs and with the EP.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your time, Blair.
Of course, mate. Thanks so much.
Yo.
Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye.